On this week's episode of Faith Lived Out, there is a submissive wife self-check. For some of you, this might seem a bit scary. For others, you're saying, bring it on. I'm a great wife. And then there will be some of you that will be thinking, why? Why be submissive to your husband? Why be submissive to any man at all? And I get it, because in my early years of high school, I wanted to have a child, but I didn't want the husband that went along with it. The men in my life at that time were very disappointing. They were jerks, and I really didn't want to subject myself to them or anything that they wanted to do. However, later in high school, I became a believer and realized that a husband is required, and he also might be nice to have around. When I got married, I did want to do marriage God's way, but I still wasn't fully embracing the becoming a submissive wife, at least not in the world's view of one. I was very independent, very capable of making my own decisions, and rather prideful in that I didn't need anybody else's help. I didn't need to rely on anyone else or to follow anyone else. In my journey of becoming a submissive wife, I've learned what it truly means. And that it's not about being a doormat. It's not about not having an opinion or a voice or never being able to make a decision. And it's not blindly following my husband wherever he happens to lead. But it's about being willing to come alongside him as his helpmate, to share my experiences, my expertise, the wisdom that I have, the gifts and talents that I have, the abilities to work in my family, to do those things that my family needs to the best of my ability, to do them and to do them well, and to take those responsibilities and to really pour myself into them for the good of my family. And yes, to be willing to submit myself to my husband, because we both can't be in charge. And God has put him in charge as the head of the household. And it's really a big deal. I mean, if you really think about it, it's a heavy weight for your husband to have. And there have been times that I have been glad that he is the one that has that weight, that has to have that final decision, and that it wasn't on me, and that I wasn't the one that had to do that. After 42 years of marriage, I can tell you that God knows exactly what he is doing. In following his design for marriage and becoming a submissive wife, it has brought me more joy, peace, contentment, and love that I ever could have imagined or hoped for, and I wouldn't want it any other way. So I encourage you to take this self-check with two things in mind. One, that God is perfect. Even when you don't understand, even when you don't agree with what his word says and what he's asking you to do, it is still perfect and it is still truth. So give yourself time. And then also, becoming a submissive wife is a journey. It's not something that happens overnight, something that you can just learn, but you have to learn it over time and you have to grow into it. So there will most likely be areas that as you do this self-check, you're going to go, oh gosh, I need to learn this and I need to change. And that's okay, because that's how we grow, right? Is we learn what needs to change. We learn what we can do differently to make things better. And then we grow into those things. And then know too, that I'm here to help you do that. I'm here to walk alongside you and to show you the way, because I've been there and I know what it's like. And I want you to have the kind of marriage that I have, the one that God intended for you to have, that Christ-like loving marriage that I know that you're really looking for, and you will be blessed by it. So listen to the episode, take the self-check. And, if there are areas that you need to grow, great, we will grow in them together. But let God guide you and direct you to the beautiful marriage that he has for you. I love you, ladies. Have a blessed day.